this one. Come and follow me on my account because this is everything I talk about. I talk about self-care from a trauma and disability informed perspective, which means some of us have really good reason to not like our bodies. And that does not have to be a barrier to self-care because you do not have to love yourself. You can just be loyal to the body that is carrying you through this life. So come and follow me and I will have your answers because my answers are actually getting you to your answers. How to evaluate which self-care choices are best for your body's needs in the life that you are living with the current barriers you are experiencing. We're going to find solutions and we're going to find the solutions that work for you. I've been thinking about this comment ever since you left it. And I commented back in kind of a flippant way, but I wanted to respond longer so that you could know I'm not actually being flippant. So what I suggested was spite. Spite is how you can feel better about yourself in a system that wants you dead. But I'm actually not really joking that much about that. Thing is, this is a lesson I'm carrying with me from my community organizing days when my leaders were the marginalized. So I learned these things from Black people, Indigenous people, queer people, disabled people. And what I have learned is that joy is resistance. Love is resistance. In a system that wants you dead, self-love is resistance. So love yourself as a radical act to stick it to the powers that be. If you have a lot of resistance around doing the things that will help you on your healing journey, it's okay to just start sarcastic. Start as a bit. That's totally okay. Like sometimes I will be sitting there doing some affirmations and be like, like, oh, I really love myself. If that's where you have to start, that's okay. That's okay. It'll feel a little less stupid every day. And then one day you'll be going, oh, I love myself. Huh. What do you know? You live in disability world. You learn real fast about the concept of accommodations. These are basically just any solution that supports limitations and gets you closer to where you're trying to go. So in my son's case, he needs a ramp to get out the front door. I have dietary issues, so I need certain foods available. Some people with processing disorders might need more time on a test. You get the idea. It's different solutions to support you in the areas where you have some limitations. The thing is, it's not just disabled people that have limitations, you know. All humans have limitations, and all humans could benefit from having some support in those areas. But if you don't have a certain diagnosis, you've probably never had that concept explained to you or been supported in making those kinds of individual choices. But you can do that for yourself and build a life that works for you. So I want to say something kind of weird. I don't think you need to learn to love yourself. Learning to care for yourself is how you learn to love yourself. You don't love someone who doesn't treat you right. So if you show up and you care for yourself every day, you demonstrate that you are trustworthy. And when you can trust someone who cares for you, that is how you develop love. So you have to start with the mundane tasks. You have to brush your teeth and you have to feed yourself and you have to drink your water and you have to do all those things that you know are good for you but are really hard to do. And you don't have to love yourself for any of that to be true. You can just learn to be loyal to yourself, which is what I teach on my account. I'm having a bit of a bad brain day this morning. No big deal. It happens. But I'm having these intrusive thoughts and they're driving me nuts. I can't make them stop. And I don't want to be thinking about these horrible intrusive thoughts that are pestering me. But in my former life, my reaction would have been to be more rigid and to try to force those thoughts out and hold tighter and tighter and tighter. That doesn't work. That just makes you spiral faster. Since I have found body loyalty and I am learning to recognize that all of my sensations are telling me something and I'm trying to tap into, okay, body, what do you need? Well, I mean, I'm really freaked out because look at the world we live in. So if I, instead of just stop it, what's actually effective is going, okay, let me work on making you feel more secure. It's not that there's anything sacred about journaling that makes it just constantly prescribed to anyone on a healing journey. It's not journaling that's sacred. It's just that reflection matters a lot on a self-care journey. Reflection on where you've been, how you got here, what you believe, what you don't want to believe anymore, where you're going. It's the reflection that matters. So if journaling doesn't work for you for a variety of reasons, fuck it. Find a different way. Talk to yourself in the bathroom mirror. Think out loud while you're driving. Create elaborate daydreams in your head that allow you to work some things out. It doesn't matter. You don't actually need a record. You just need some way to reflect on what you're doing. And if that's meditation or mindfulness instead of journaling, if that's talking with really great friends, who cares?
No, I don't wait for tomorrow. No, I won't give it a break. Don't need to beg, steal or borrow. Watch me as I walk this way. I'm busy building an empire. Don't really care what they say. I'm only here for a good time. Drown them out like now, no mistake. Mind over matter, take control. All my visions are set in stone. Don't kill my fire. I'm flawless by design.
You've heard about get-rich-quick schemes where con artists and MLMs will steal your money by convincing you that if you just give a little bit, you'll get so much money, and it's always a lie, right? But we all want to be rich, and so they can sucker us, right? Well, I think there's the same thing in the wellness community. We all want to be well, and so there is such a thing as a get self-care quick scheme. And I think the wellness world is just littered with people like that, littered with people who are trying to sell you an exercise program or a vitamin or a supplement or another MLM or whatever. People who are trying to sell you something so that you can get well fast. But it doesn't work that way. The way to get self-care is actually slow and mundane and hard. And so you have to solve the hard instead of taking a shortcut. When you're trying to set reasonable, sustainable health goals without falling into any of the traps of diet culture, one of the things that has helped me to keep as a North Star is the awareness that I cannot go faster than my body will allow. If I push myself too far past my body's present capabilities, then I am just going to find myself trapped in a never-ending cycle of failure and shame, or pushing myself to burnout, or harming myself long-term with maladaptive coping strategies. I've done all of them. For these things to really work, you have to go at the speed of your body. If you insist on setting a goal for yourself this time of year when it comes to your health, don't set it on numbers. You can't actually control numbers. And if you get attached to numbers, you can very easily go down some unhealthy roads. Instead, set your goals around behaviors, since that's what you actually can control. Behaviors around whatever healthy choice you're trying to make. How often or how you do them or a certain goal to do them, I don't know. Whatever works for you. But you can be making all the healthiest choices and still not get number outcomes that you might wish. So set yourself up for success and don't get attached to those numbers in the first place. Just support yourself in choosing healthy behaviors. Let's talk about the difference between control and agency when it comes to your body. You do not have control over your body. You cannot think yourself taller. You can't think yourself into a better digestion system. You have to work with what your body is doing. But you do have some agency. Tell him, Shira. You have some agency, which means you can make choices that will get you better results for how your body functions. But agency is very different from control. You can make choices. You cannot choose your outcomes. So I think that's incredibly important to think about when we're thinking about shame we feel about our body. We don't need to feel shame over what we can't control. We can just use our agency to make the best choices we can.
5 words to help you advocate for yourself at the doctor's as a fat person. That isn't my concern today.
It is a tremendous amount of work to make peace with your body, to find healing, to develop the habits, to develop these care routines. Like, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of internal work as you face some of these ugly things you think about yourself. It's hard, but it is so worth it. Even if you never get to self-love, it is still worth it. Because just think about the money alone. How much money are you spending trying to fix yourself, trying to buy the thing that's going to make you feel good? Like, just the money you'll save alone is amazing. The time you will save, the energy you can put towards other things. It's absolutely worth it. Even if what you end up with does not look like the self-esteem lectures of your childhood, it's still worth it just to make peace. Let me teach you about dynamic habits. Okay, this is something that I learned because I am dynamically disabled. What that means is that my functionality is very different depending on the day, depending on where I am in my hormone cycle, depending on the stress I'm currently experiencing, yada, yada, yada. And so I never know until I wake up that morning how much I'm going to be capable of that day, which means that if I'm developing a morning routine, a nighttime routine, an exercise routine, whatever, I have to build in that full range of my functionality. So on some mornings, all I do is brush my teeth. On other mornings, I have a full skincare routine. But I don't have any shame. I just work with what I'm capable of that day. Do I? Hold on. I'm going to go fast. Okay, so I am not an ADHDer, but I am neurodiverse. So if you see something specific that I've done in any of my videos, it might work for you too, because there's a whole lot of overlap there. Okay, next is habit stacking. That's in the book Atomic Habits by James Clear. This is great because it's great to cut around executive function or decision paralysis because the decisions are already made. Next, flow. Okay, so a lot of times my brain just will not do the thing I need to do. So I have a lot more productivity when I just go, okay, brain, well, what are you willing to do? And I follow the flow of where my brain is going. Sometimes I have to force it, but when you can, follow the flow. Last one, self-talk. Okay, maybe more than any other group, you ADHDers have been told that any problem you face in your life is your own fault. You've been so mistreated. And so you got to get that out of your head. You're not lazy, you're not broken, you're just neurodiverse. A lot of people traditionally develop that sense of safety in their body through some form of physical activity, martial arts or weightlifting or something like that. I'm disabled, so those avenues are not open to me. I need some form of peace and safety in my body that also accounts for the fact that it hurts me a lot. So here's 3 additional ways that have helped me even with all of that being true. One is sensation. By actually feeling what my body is feeling and not dissociating away from it, I start to have positive associations with it. It feels safer. Next is sensory diet. I choose what I am feeding my senses. Again, creating those positive associations to feel safer. The last is perspective take. I actually did like a narrative journaling project where I wrote my life story from the perspective of my body to kind of see what she has gotten me through. And it made me realize she'll get me through what else comes. You're not going to heal your body by ignoring its cues. So if you're recovering from burnout or you're rehabbing, you have to go at the pace of your body. And that includes your nervous system. So especially for something like burnout, when it's so easy to feel overwhelmed and feel paralyzed, or else just do the very same things that cause the burnout in the first place. Finding a middle ground can be really challenging, but paying attention to your body cues can help you find that. If you go at the pace of your nervous system, go to what feels safe, and then go just one more step into the discomfort, not to the point of overwhelm, but to the point of growth. And then you can get back out there in a sustainable way. If you're struggling with burnout and you can't quit your job, here's some of my recommendations. First, whatever your physical symptoms are, the shame and self-hate you feel is going to exacerbate them. Whether they're physical and you're more tense, or they are mental and you have a lot more mental health symptoms, the self-hate and the shame will make it worse. So you have to get rid of the shame. And one of the best ways to do that is for you to set your own standards for what those expectations of success are in your life. What do you believe a person is worth outside of their labor? What do you believe is enough? What is your definition of success? You can choose all of those things for yourself and then hold yourself up to those standards you can actually meet and feel good about meeting instead of shame. Part 2 for dealing with burnout without quitting your job. So in the last video, I talked about dealing with the shame. So along with deciding what you want to believe about yourself and holding yourself to those expectations, another great way to tackle shame is through community. So get involved in a mutual aid society. Get involved in some kind of a fight for a cause you believe in. Accept that your body has needs. Every human's body has needs. And advocate for all of us to be able to meet those needs. And that's how you will find community and realize this isn't a you problem. This is something that is happening to all of us, and we can work on solving it together. Also, here's the book to read, Burnout by the Nagoski sisters.
In the moonlight, with a part in